All right, it is 6:30 PM. We will call to order the Forest Lake Airport Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 21st at 6:30. We will start by taking roll. Since Mr. Schmidt is not here this evening, I will take roll. Sam Husnick.
I'm here.
And Mark Lynch.
Present.
And Kurt Monson is not present this evening.
Okay.
And John Schmidt is not present this evening. And myself, Don Steeler, is here. And so we have a quorum. First on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes? And if not, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I've read them earlier today. I make a motion to approve them as written.
And I'll second.
Mark makes motion, Sam second. All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Before we move on to the next agenda item, I just realized without John here, are you taking notes?
I'm taking some notes, but I'll also go back to the videotape and.
Oh, there we go.
So
Okay,
I'm
Let's go to the
thankful.
video.
I'll go back to the video as well. So
okay. Great. We will, next on the agenda is Mark German. So Mark, you have the floor.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. We been talking to Dan here the last few weeks, and we're trying to organize an open house fly-in at the airport, and I'm sure most of you are already aware of it. I think it's appropriate for us to come here and present it to you guys as a program, what we're doing. So that's what we're doing here tonight, me and Sherry. The chapter is sponsoring the open house fly-in. It's going to be from 9 in the morning until 1. The Lions Club is going to be sponsoring the breakfast for us. They're very excited about it. They've done it in the past. They're going to have pancakes, scrambled eggs, sausage, coffee, juice. Cost is $6 per person, and the kids under, I think it's under 5 eat free with the Lions. So we have to provide them with a spot to set up their food trailer, and we're kind of thinking that we're going to put it over there by the AD building. That's where they've always been before. The event location right now, we're looking at scheduled for Hangar 1. Chris Olson and his crew have provided that for us free of charge, and it's a big hangar, very nice. We're looking at trying to set up tables in there so people can get food, go in there and sit down and eat. I think we'll have tables under the door, some inside, some outside. So that's kind of what we're planning. Any questions on that so far?
Can I make a comment, Mark?
Yep.
We did put power in that building next to the AD building.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's a 50 amp outlet, and the Lions have used that in the past.
That's great. I was not aware of that.
Yep.
Yeah. But the other problem too, if you're gonna be that far away from the building, you're gonna carry food from there to the building to eat?
Well, that's,
I think we should talk to Chris and maybe, I think if you could set it up like between his building and the gas pumps there.
yep. Well, that's a good point. We're also going to be setting up a tent. We're getting Chapter 237 out of Anoka. We're getting one of their big presentation tents. It's like, I think it's like 20 feet wide.
Yeah.
And it's probably 30 feet long, so it's a good sized tent. We've had it out there before. So we're looking at doing that in the front of the AD building. I think that maybe that's where we're gonna put it. We're still just trying to decide how to do that. We also may move the Lions food trailer over on the other side of the fuel pumps there too, Sam. So
Well, yeah, but that's, yeah, because just the idea to carry on it so far.
Right.
If you're not cooking inside.
Right. Well, in the past, we've always had the
Chapter.
skydivers hangar there, and that was pretty convenient. So, but anyway, we're working on the details right now. But that's kind of our idea. Let's see. later in the afternoon, after the event is done, Chris Olson and his crew are providing their hangar. They're gonna have a band over there, and they're gonna have a dance. So we are not sponsoring that, but it's gonna be available after our event, okay? Need to talk about some items, Dan, for, that we need out there. We spent some time yesterday and today cutting grass in the airplane parking area, and there are some really nasty dents out there.
Craters.
Craters, big ones.
Which area are you talking about?
Would it be south of where the Titans are?
Yep,
And that's
Yeah.
from, see, that's from in the wintertime, they're pushing that snow down there, and when the ground is soft, leaving big tire ruts in there.
yep.
And I can't get that through, I know who's doing it, but he can't get through his head. So the only way you could do it, you'd have to dump in some,
Fill.
good topsoil in there. And then I could, I could come over with the Bobcat and level it off.
I talked to Dave Adams about that yesterday, actually.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, and said, have him take a, he's out there gonna take a look at that area. And
Okay.
I told him to level it off, because that's gonna be used for parking. So it's on his radar screen, but once he does it, if he misses anything, let me know, we'll make sure that gets leveled off for
Okay,
the event.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just thinking at least 20 yards, First we were thinking 10, but after we.
No,
No, it's gonna be probably more than even 20 yards out there, Dan, so. If we need to have help putting that out there, like Sam said, he's got a Bobcat. There's also a couple other Bobcats out there, so we're more than willing to help out, Dan, so. You just gotta let me know what you need, okay?
I can talk to Dave too,
Yeah.
see if we can coordinate something, but
Yeah.
You know where I'm talking about, Sam.
Oh,
I
boy,
mean, it's
whatever
bad,
that-
it's
that's-
bad. I think
Hey.
realistically, I think in the springtime, we need to roll it.
Well, and that's something that we'll talk about later with
I
that
see
whole
that.
area in general going.
But they need to stay off of it all winter.
Yeah. I know.
That's,
I know.
I'll have that conversation.
It's complicated, it is. I mean, you gotta have a place to put the snow, but you can't drive on there. I mean, if the
Yeah, but-
ground is froze, that's different.
But you can do it with a blower though, you can blow it back there, you don't have to push it in there with a
Right.
plow.
Right. So, anyway, portable toilets, Dan. I'm thinking we're probably gonna need 2, maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
What do we have out there in the past?
We've had at least 4.
At least 4,
Yeah.
yeah. We have no idea how many people are gonna come, but based on the fly-ins that I've been to this summer, I think we're gonna have people
People
out
are
there.
getting out.
Yeah, people are really coming
Yeah.
out.
And in the past, Dave has ordered the toilets too, and set up the picnic tables and that kind of thing,
Yep.
so.
Yep,
If I remember correctly, he kinda did the bulk of the last fly-in, as far
Yeah.
as
Oh, yeah.
getting the stuff ready to go.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
Plus, we've always supplied garbage cans, all
Right.
the big garbage
Yeah,
Yep.
cans.
and
you know.
I talked to him about all that, so he just,
Okay.
he doesn't know the exact number of picnic tables that he has available right now. I can ask him for a number on that one, but
do you have any idea? I mean, just a ballpark figure? I mean, are we talking 10, or are we
I
talking?
think it's around 10. For some reason, that number seems to stick out in my head.
Okay.
But he said whatever we have that's available, he'll get
That's
over
them
there.
big heavy ones that, yeah, I must have them down that lower hanger down there.
That's a good question.
Oh.
And then if we had a map, we could kinda like highlight where you wanna put those porta potties. So I'm guessing you want them closer to that hangar.
Yep, we need to know when you're gonna bring them out, or when they're gonna get there, and we can have somebody out there to help coordinate that. Okay?
But I do think we need 4, for sure.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
four.
I would rather have more than not enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or 4,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want 4, believe me.
Yep. The other question is, do we wanna use the bathroom in the AD building?
It's,
That building's gonna be open, and there's a bathroom in there, so I'm assuming people are gonna go in there, so, okay. All right, garbage cans, same thing. If they just drop them off, we'll make sure that we get them in the right spot. We're thinking we wanna move the John Deere tractor.
Great move.
Is that possible to put that down in one of the hangars, the old hangars at the far end down there? Just to get it out?
Hangar E?
Yeah, but the idea of this tractor, we've been trying to negotiate a deal to get rid of it.
Trying to get rid of it.
And so Dan can explain, but we've been what we've been doing is working with the state of Minnesota to determine what the thing is worth. And then if it sells for that amount of money, the state gets 70% of it. The other 30% goes back to the airport fund.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean.
And we need to get it done.
Yeah, I
soon.
mean, we can just move it over behind Chris's hangar or something, just to get it out of that one spot right there, so. And, anyway. Okay. Also, just wanna make sure that, we're excited that, that the police department has been, showing a lot of interest out there lately. We've got, the cops driving through there quite a bit now. And they always stop and talk to us. We've got a couple of police officers that are actually training to be pilots right now. So that's pretty cool. Also, the fire department, we're requesting that both the police department and the fire department be present out there. And I'm sure they will. Dan, you've mentioned that too. Also, would like to invite the mayor and the city officials and their families and friends. Please come. We'd like to have them out there. We're going to be having, I think we're gonna be having good coverage.
Yeah,
Terry?
we're gonna be having good coverage. We've contacted local press and
Yeah.
WCCO, we're contacting media,
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have some good coverage
yes.
out there from
We will.
the local media, along with a bunch of other places. Minnesota Flyer is gonna be there. I don't know what else. Anyway, but we would like to have some city officials out there. I think it'd be good for the city and be good for the airport.
Good for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing too, the chapter has meetings throughout the year, once a month, usually the fourth Wednesday of every month. And everybody's invited. We have great speakers and we have great food. So please come. Please.
Let's listen to an F-16 pilot and eat some hamburgers, right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Tonight,
guys.
we have a meeting tonight that's going on, and we got 2 B-1 bomber pilots talking to us in person tonight.
Seriously.
And if you've ever seen a B-1 bomber, it's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
They fly at Mach 1.2. Unbelievable. So is there any questions?
Yeah, you're gonna do Young Eagle rides still?
No.
Fantastic.
Not on the 21st.
No.
However, we did do the entire month of June, every Friday
Yeah,
from,
I know, but,
Yep.
okay.
because I've been involved with this in the past. We've
Okay.
done Young Eagle rides, and
No.
it's a,
No, it's too much. It's
Oh,
just too much.
God.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
we made that decision a long time ago, Sam.
To
and,
keep them separated, but
Yeah.
boy, did we have some amazing stuff happen with those rides in June. Just,
Yeah, kids were.
who showed up and who got to participate, it was moving.
Yeah, most of the kids are pretty excited about it. So.
Yeah.
And, anyway, all right.
Do you guys have, just as a question, do you guys have like a main point of contact for the event? And the reason why I ask is I know MnDOT Aeronautics has on their flying calendar, you can submit the event to there,
Mhm.
and they'll list it on their website as well, so they'll get it listed as part of their events. But since the EAA is taking the lead on this, if you put your contact information there with the date and everything else in there, you'll get it listed on Minnesota Aeronautics flying page
Yep.
of the events.
Actually, we have a person that is in charge of getting that posted right now.
Okay, perfect.
Social media, yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was there. I know somebody mentioned on the
And-
flying.
You know,
station.
there's several different fly-in advertisement media locations, and the MnDOT has one of them. And so there's flyins.com, there's MnDOT, there's,
Minnesota Flyer, there's EAA.
yeah.
There's, yeah.
So, anyway, we're trying to get them on in all of them, so. So we're hoping that we're gonna have a great turnout. After the event, all of the volunteer helpers and stuff were invited down. We're gonna have food and drinks, not beer, not alcohol, for everybody that helped out in the evening, so.
Great,
Okay,
yeah. Any
that's it.
Questions
I
for
don't
Mark or
wanna
anything? or-
take up any
Yeah,
more of your
I don't
time.
think there's anything that we haven't already done in the past.
Right, the only thing I would recommend with the airport commission, just to kind of formalize the event, is if you guys wanna make a motion supporting it, just so
Well,
that
there's-
there's
yeah, there's-
no, I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you guys vote on it, but that's,
Right.
if you guys are in support of it, just to have that memorialized in the minutes that the airport commission reviewed it, and, because it's.
Yeah, well, I'd make a motion that we support the event that's gonna happen on the 21st.
Do we have a second?
I can second that.
Second, all in favor of supporting the event on the 21st of August, say aye.
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 Great.
Passes
That's great,
unanimously.
guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you
very
thank
much.
you, thank you for that.
You know, because I don't think the council's gonna be an issue, they never have been.
We're,
We got a brand-new council since the last time we did an EAA chapter event, though.
okay,
But
yeah.
that's not gonna be.
Yeah, you know, if there's any time you need the chapter to participate in a board meeting, you know, city board meeting, whatever, just let us know. We'd be more glad to come. The other thing too is that we would like to continue doing this every year. And we want to try to build it. And if it goes good, it can get fairly big. I mean, we would, you know, the last few years that we had it, we had 2,000 or 3,000 people out here. So
How many planes, how much room do you have, or how many planes do you think you can park on the ground?
that's a big question right now. Depends on if we get Phil in those, in
You'll
those
Yeah.
holes.
You'll get the film.
And will there be somebody
The-
doing
the pro-
ground?
Well, the problem is that we have less now than what we used to have.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
So
right,
Since we paid,
right,
yeah.
since, yeah.
we're hoping that we're gonna be able to park the aircraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're gonna be very careful with it. We got,
you're gonna park people, the cars on the south side over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, where you've been mowing over there?
yep,
Then I would suggest that it might be possible that we could park airplanes in that field behind Chris's hangar.
yeah.
That might be an alternative, we've done that in the past,
Well, we're looking at that. We're looking at that. So,
yeah.
It looks like we may also have a,
Depends on the airplane, you got, you know, tail draggers can go back there.
right. It looks like the military might be flying up some sort of helicopter. Don't know for sure which one.
Blackhawk.
Probably a Black Hawk, I don't know. But if they do that, we're looking at putting that over on the other side of Chris's hangar over there. I don't know. That's always draws a lot of attention. So,
Out of curiosity, and we probably should have brought it up before we voted on it. I know, I live on Clear Lake, and there's Clear Lake Association. I don't know if you've communicated this to them to invite them all out to it.
we really don't have, we can,
The only reason I throw it out there is they're the ones affected most by airport noise.
Mhm.
And whenever we have any objection of anything at the airport, it's
Yeah.
generally the folks closest to the airport on Clear Lake, and so.
And forgive me for my ignorance, but how would we do it? I agree, it's an important communication, but how do we do that?
I would just contact the president of the Lake Association, Clear Lake
I think Don Shipman
Association,
probably know who that
Okay,
is,
all
right.
seeing that they live out there.
All right,
and, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I don't
We
have that
will
name.
do, we will do.
I have that name and contact on my computer at home, if Mark, if you can't find it elsewhere, but
We
I'm
can,
sure
we can.
Dan
Yeah, I
has it.
have it too, I just can't remember off the top of my head. I just
Yeah,
wanted
the
to-
name
will
escapes
do.
me,
You
but
know what,
it's worth sending out just a
That's a-
heads up and an invite.
That's a great idea, because we've had complaints from people out there.
Yeah, if you let them know ahead of time, then they know what's going on. Otherwise, I'll get calls. Why are all these planes
Oh.
flying
It'll
in?
be a lot less quiet when we're not flying Eagles, so,
Yeah.
because that added a lot of
Well,
flights.
Yeah.
there's no question about it, we flew 184 one year.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
184 kids,
yeah.
it's
So,
just constant.
anyway.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, Mark. Sherry?
You guys, you probably have a meeting you need to run to. I saw all the cars.
Yeah,
out
well,
there,
that's
so.
okay. Hey, we got people.
This
in
was
charge
the
of that.
priority, folks, so.
Just to be aware too, I talked to this airport engineer, he'll be at the event as well with the airport layout plan, so anybody has questions,
Great.
comments on the new layout plan. Both Silas and Chris, who worked on the plan from start to finish, will be there to answer any questions that.
Do we need a place for them to set up a place to put drawings or anything? or-
They have it, they're gonna be self-contained, I just don't know what they need, like a small space, but
Okay.
they, very easy to slot in, but.
Okay, well, if they need something, let it just,
Like an easel or something, or?
They have all that. They
Okay,
have,
okay.
I don't know what they're, if they're gonna put it out on a table or,
Okay.
but they said they have their own tent. They said they have everything. They're gonna plan to be outdoors, but they're gonna be there with the plans and
super.
everything.
Yeah.
Answer all the questions people have, so.
Good,
Yeah.
good,
okay,
right.
all right.
Hey, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you
guys.
for the time, gentlemen.
Next,
Thanks, Ken.
next
later.
on our agenda is Bolton and Mink.
See you,
And I
Sam.
know they're not present, but I think Dan has maybe
do.
an update.
I do, so I got, it's including a packet of materials for tonight. So Silas did send out a master plan, airport layout plan update. He submitted that to MinDOT for review at the beginning, or back in January. MinDOT sent back their comments just this week on it, and he did include the comments that they sent back, as I think, it must have come in 2 days ago. So they did review all the stuff, had some comments for them to follow up on. They'll address those comments and then resubmit the ALP back in August for MinDOT's review again. And like I just mentioned, they will be at the flying breakfast on August 21st to display the ALP and answer any questions people have on that. So I think that'll be a good way to communicate that out with the flying community, what the plan is for the airport. Going on to the capital improvement program, they revised it based on the results of the master plan study. So they are updating the capital improvement plan. Just so everybody is aware, the proposed state fiscal year 2022 projects were South Taxi Lane pavement construction, South Taxi Lane's water main extension, South Taxi Lane sanitary sewer extension, and the runway taxiway infield drainage improvements. We had hoped to get the green light list by this meeting.
That was
which is
gonna
why
be
we
my
delayed
question,
it.
yeah.
As of this morning, it had not been released yet. Even though I talked to MinDOT at the end of June, they said we're gonna get it up earlier this year. They have not released it yet, so if history is any indicator, it'll probably come out tomorrow, because
Yeah.
it's exactly what happened last year, was the day after the meeting, the list comes out.
Okay.
So we don't know for green lit for any projects yet, but that's gonna get released hopefully soon, and once that's released, we'll take a look at what projects, if we get any projects approved for. On that capital improvement program, I know I mentioned the last meeting, the possibility of, MinDOT reached out and said the possibility of paving in that tie-down area. They said, there's a possibility that they may have some extra funds to do that. I haven't heard anything back specifically related to that, and I have been in pretty regular contact with MinDOT since that meeting. But we got assigned a new, I don't know if he's an area rep or an engineer that's new to our airport. Our old one retired at the end of last year. I am gonna be meeting with him and to go over what he, some of the stuff that he wants to talk about the airport. And one of his first priorities was that paving that area in. So it's on his radar screen. I know it's on their radar screen. So hopefully they'll get the funds released and we can get that area taken care of, so we don't have to go in there and fill it back in. So one of the issues with it was the original ALP had that project at about $100,000 worth of improvements, but the new proposed ALP had it about $225 or $250 because it's a lot larger area. So when they asked for the original funding, I asked if what plan, but I also said, we'll take whatever you give us, we can definitely stage that out, so.
Sure.
Don't have a definitive on it, but that's one thing I'm hoping that we can at least possibly get in.
Yeah, if we had a number, we could figure out the size from that point.
From
yeah.
that, yeah.
Yep. So hopefully there's, and I'm hopeful that meeting with the new MinDOT rep will help at least carry that back into MinDOT when they're having their conversations, because he actually brought it up. He said one of his priority areas was that tie-down area. And I said, hey, give me the funds, we're happy to take care of the project and get it there, but we just gotta get the funds from MinDOT to help with that, to help get that project done, so. As soon as I get the green list, I will send it out to the airport commission, just let everybody know. But I did talk to Silas, once the green list is approved, we still have plenty of time to get the projects, approved locally here and get those bid out, so we're not in any rush on them, we just, the earlier we can get started on, the better, because then we can get them potentially constructed early in.
Would it happen this summer yet, or?
It depends on if and when the funding gets released. I would probably say no,
Okay.
just given the fact that grant getting grant documents out of MnDOT right now is taking a while. Like the fuel pump grant took probably 3 months to go after it got approved. It's just taking time to get through their approval process. So even if we're green and lit for the project, I don't like doing anything or signing contracts until I get the full grant agreement back from MnDOT, just to make sure those funds are encumbered, we have them. So I would say more likely than not, if we get approved, it's gonna be a extra construction on that.
But the fuel pump is a done deal.
Correct.
Except it hasn't been actually physically taken care of yet. I mean, so.
The next update on that, the fuel pump, Grant got that back, reached out to Minnesota Petroleum, signed the purchase order, the quote with them, talked to QT Pod today. I have all of the documentation. I need to get we have to set up a different account because we're on the old card reader system. We have to go to a new one. I have to set up a new credit card processor. I have all of that paperwork with me. They have our quote they have our work order from Minnesota Petroleum to start building on it. It's a 4-week build and a 3-week approval process on the whole credit card processor. So we're looking at probably at the earliest 4 weeks out to get the pump back in, and then Minnesota Petroleum would install. So we're probably looking at September for an install for that. But
I think once it's installed, we should promote it, because there are a lot of people right now that are not choosing to use that pump.
yeah, we'll get that promoted out.
It's tough to read. It's really tough
It
to
is.
read.
It is.
I'd fill up the whole plane for $12. No, 120.
Yeah, you gotta know what the cues are, what you gotta enter, but yeah, okay.
Are they gonna change the format on the bill? I mean, my wife's going, well, how come we owe the city of Forest Lake?
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think we
Yes,
can on there. I mean, do you have
Nice if it says petrol or fuel or something fuel related, but
Okay.
I would think you could customize that.
Yeah, it sounds like in talking to the QT Pod rep today, it almost sounds like we're starting over, we're moving into a brand new agreement with them, brand new account with them, everything, like nothing from the old system's gonna transfer over.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked to her today, I said, won't this transfer? She's like, your system's 11 years old. She's like, it's not gonna transfer.
Yeah.
So, okay. So yeah, we could probably,
Well, I mean, it just comes on the credit card part of it, you know what I mean?
oh,
When you're
sure.
going through your
Yeah.
credit card.
Yeah, I
My
looked
wife
at it
goes
first
through
time,
every
I'm like,
single
what
one,
the
I
heck
gotta
is
tell
that?
you. You know, so she's gotten used to it, don't get me wrong, but other people might be questioning the same thing, you know?
So instead of having that, put City of Forest Lake Airport.
No, it just says City of Forest Lake.
Right now,
whatever
that's,
amount.
right now it just
But
says
like in
City
the
of Forest
future,
Lake.
you could put like
In the
25D
future,
fuel or something like that.
yeah,
and
Forest
you would
Lake
know.
Airport fuel
Yeah,
or
or something
something.
like that.
Yeah, just simplify it a little bit. Then I don't have to explain how come I spent $170.
Put FLA fuel. I can use my company credit card. It shows up as fuel.
Oh,
Pretty soon she won't be paying the bills, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, I'll look into that, because like I said, I just got the slew of documents today, I haven't reviewed
Okay.
them yet, but I think that's all,
Well, the sooner the better, that's for sure.
yeah, no,
Oh, boy,
it's needed.
we're on the edge here, so.
We did go out, I had maintenance go out there and at least kind of clean the screen a little bit, but it's the LEDs, or it's the screen behind
Yeah.
it that's going out, and there's nothing we can do about that at this point, because that is no longer a supported unit, so,
That little cover blows up, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and it sits there open and the
Yeah.
sun beats on
Yeah.
that thing, just perfect.
yep. And
So-
we're getting a new cover, a new car, everything will be brand new when it's
Yeah.
all done, so it'll be, and we're going with the cellular option, so it's not gonna have to get wired back into the building, which caused some issues before, so
Okay, that's good.
it'll be a good upgrade out there, for sure.
Anything else on Bolton and Mink? That's looks
No,
like it,
that pretty
okay.
much covers Bolton Link's update.
Progress on building out the remaining existing hangar lots. Any progress on?
No progress,
No
I've been really
progress.
focused on getting grant agreements done and everything else.
Right.
So,
Did anybody pull a permit to build on the existing lots? Because there's what, 3 left?
There's 3 left, and one has had it's not a building permit, it's a permit for, it's a utility install.
Yeah,
That demonstrates that the intent to build on there, so that one, you can argue the intent to build, that one didn't come within the guideline, or the 24 months that was in there. The other 2, one of them has told me they intend to build, but they have not signed this agreement that says you can build, because our current lease has conflicting language in it, so if you don't build within the 24 months, you can't build.
Right,
That-
right.
And
We
that
wanted
may,
to build
I
and-
don't know how that happened.
Right. So it's sort of, I've told them that they need to sign this in order for us to be able to issue the permits, that once they sign it, then the clock starts on it.
The other thing too, we've always approved or disapproved the plan here at the airport commission level too. So, and we haven't seen any of that. And it has nothing to do with the structure of the building or anything like that. We don't want a pink polka dot building, that kind of.
Well, you're big on a 6-12 pitch or a
412 or,
412.
and 2 foot overhang.
2 foot overhang, yeah.
2 and 1 or something like that, you know. We did, one fell through the cracks when it first got started out here. Excuse me, but, I think it's important that the airport commission gets a chance to look at those plans like we always have.
Yep, we'll continue to bring them back to when they come
Yeah.
back, though they will come back.
So that we get a chance to look at color combinations, not that it's a big deal, it's just that I think we should know, kinda know what's going on there, you know, so.
I just think the importance of people eager to build on the lots we're gonna have in the future, and then just have those 3 sitting there with no activity, just
Yeah.
sends the wrong signal.
Exactly, you're absolutely right about that, Mark, there's no question about it. So, we need to encourage these folks to get moving on that.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, I know we have a waiting list. Is that waiting list available? I know the person across from me, Hangar 14, is gonna be selling his hangar.
Yep.
And I told him to contact you because he had a list, and I didn't know if that list would be public or not.
It's public
Okay,
information. you
I
know.
kinda thought it was, but,
So, and part of that list too, I participated in, MnDOT did a statewide airport survey that they hired, I can't remember, some engineering firm to do. And they were looking at interest lists, kind of gauge interest, and I sent that list to the engineer from them, because I think they wanted to see, is it the same people who are on multiple waiting lists, or is it, what is the interest in,
Yeah.
kind of statewide, so.
Yeah.
It is a public document, so
Okay.
if he wants to see it, or if they
Yeah.
don't want to see it, I'm happy.
Great.
See, and I think that's Doug Dufresne you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yep.
And, one of the things he said maybe was putting it up kind of for
some kind
auction.
of auction, yeah.
Yeah, here it is, what do you give me for it, Well, find out,
Yeah, how does he get word out to people who are interested that it's gonna be on that auction? So that's why I
Yeah.
suggested to
Well, that's right.
contact Dan
And
and
the people
get
on
the
that
list.
list should know about that.
Right,
No
that's what
doubt
I
about
figured
it.
he'd wanna let them know.
Right, and just so everybody knows, like my approach, if people are selling a hangar, transferring a hangar, people call me for hangars, I always say go out to the airport. So the city doesn't act as a brokerage firm, I'm not
No,
trying to get in the
no.
middle of deals, but we're happy to facilitate buyers and sellers with the list or whatever.
That's what I said, my just thought was with the list, he's
Yep.
gonna wanna know the names on that
Yep,
list,
yep,
so,
absolutely.
okay.
Yep.
And I think I might have a copy of that list, but I didn't wanna give that to him without knowing
No,
whether
yeah,
I was
feel free
right
to
to
do
do so
that.
or not, so.
You never know, because after a year, who's falling off?
Right, sure.
That kind of thing
Like,
too.
yeah.
You never know, so.
Okay, airport budget, I believe that's the last page you got in here?
Yeah, so I do have a budget update, and I remember in the last meeting, we were getting close to audit, so we do have audited figures from 20, and I do have the actuals that came in from 20. If you look, we actually did fairly well in terms of building up the fund balance last year, so we came in $47,000 under budget. A lot of that came in, our budget cycle runs fiscal year, so we go January 1 to December 31st. State runs July through June, so we're always offset a little bit, so some of that difference is, especially on grant reimbursements, some of those grant reimbursements were spent in 19 but got reimbursed in 20. But overall, when I went through the budgets, we did have higher than expected fuel sales, which is always good. We do budget those conservatively, so those did come in higher. Grant reimbursements overall were higher. But on the expenses side, we did, have some fairly low expense categories last year. Legal fees were low, repair and maintenance was low, and also insurance came in low.
There was less snow plowing, I know,
Yeah.
quite a bit last year.
So I think at the end of last year, if you put that in kind of the long-term forecast, anytime we can build the fund balance up is definitely gonna help us as we look at the long-term, projections. Like I said, short-term, 3 to 5 years, the airport budget was good, but when we start bringing on those long-term maintenance projects to the runway,
Right.
that's when it starts to fall
Right,
off. But if we
right.
can use these years to build that fund balance up, we're gonna be a lot stronger position when those projects do come due, or we get funded for another capital project from MnDOT. So
Yeah.
it's always good to keep cash on reserve. The current fund balance list is at the top of the sheet at 163. bear in mind, that does include all of the revenues from 21, or excuse me, 22, but we don't have all of the expense, or, no, excuse me, 21. Not having last year, my years are
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
but all of the rent from 21 is in, 21, 22, but we haven't expensed it all yet, so that's gonna be artificially high until we go through all the expenses for this year. If that makes sense. But overall, we're in a good spot. I mean,
Yeah.
overall, it's a good budget. You know,
Yeah.
I was happy with the way everything turned out last year. What I'm going to do is, when we get the ALP final through MnDOT, so all that, there's no changes on that, I'm gonna take that CIP list that Silas gave me, and then rerun all the projections that I did in 2018,
Mhm.
and see where we are and see where we line up on that.
Now, and this reflects, unless I missed something, this reflects the rent that we collected here this month?
Yep, yep,
Okay, it does,
that's in there.
okay.
Part of it, no, so. It's tough, and some of that too, some of the expenses haven't hit, you know, so I mean, all these numbers are gonna be, you know, but overall trend line is that we are building fund balance up, which is what we wanted to do.
I mean, we aim to keep a minimum of 50 grand in the
Yep.
balance,
Oh, definitely,
and
yeah.
with an additional, 40 that we didn't even expect to come in. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, yeah, it
Yeah,
should be
we're,
good.
and we came in at, I think at the beginning of 20, that fund balance was right around 98.
Yeah.
Now to go to 163, even with all the rents in, it's still, you know, we're not in a bad position
Yeah.
at all. So I was extremely happy. I had to go back and double check the numbers and say, yeah, are we really here? And she
Yeah.
goes, yeah, no, we're here. I said,
That's
that's
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's good, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, the news is bad.
Yeah, no, it's good. And one thing that I am looking at for next year's budget is basically taking what we have for 21 and just applying it, cookie cuttering it over to 22.
Yeah.
Obviously, the major change of that is gonna be whatever we get back from the grant project from MnDOT. And then on the MnDOT grant, just so everybody's aware, so we get maintenance and operations covered, that's reimbursed, our maintenance costs out there get reimbursed through MnDOT. For 22-23's budget year, they're allowing us to potentially take some of our maintenance and operation grant dollars and apply them to a capital project.
Oh,
So the big news there is like, so this last year with not having a lot of snow and it was
Yeah.
being so dry, our maintenance costs are low. So we actually left a little bit of money on the table from the grant reimbursement. We had lower expenses, so we didn't, it's not, you know, we didn't
Yeah.
lose money, but we just left money on the table. So looking at next year's budget, I did ask to see if we could use the fuel pump, our local share, and have that reimbursed through the M&O grant. So theoretically, we could potentially have that be 100% grant funded with no local match. I don't know where we're gonna land yet, because they wanted me to make this prediction not knowing what the green light list is, so I'm kinda like, you're asking me to make a decision point, I
Yeah.
don't know the full scope, so, but that's a 1-year thing that they're looking at doing for next budget cycle, so, we'll see. But,
Well, so far, the news is pretty
Yeah.
decent, you know,
Yeah.
you don't have too much to complain about.
Well, it's all good news from a PR standpoint too.
yeah,
It definitely, oh, yeah.
I mean, the second the airport becomes a drain, that's when I
You
get
bet,
nervous.
yeah.
and I'll also say too, the way the, now that you're in a 5-year lease with the egg, that rent is known, I mean,
yep.
there's a lot of stuff that was unknowns before that are coming in, and I think if, you know, with the new fuel pump in there, with the activity that Hangar One is telling me they're gonna bring in, I think fuel sales are gonna kind of bridge that gap, deficit gap, I think
Well,
it's
that's the whole
actually-
idea, you know, to get that more, yeah, to make that happen, make it busier, make it selling gas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I still think we look at for flight, you look at all the gas prices, that's just a great reason to go fly someplace to save a couple of cents on the gallon.
Yeah, right, yeah, oh, yeah. You mean like flying to Duluth for a hamburger? You know, that kind of-
Something like that, yeah.
Because how many planes do we have hangared, do you think, at our airport
You know,
now?
I tried to mentally go down to
Yeah.
every hangar, you know, I bet there's close to 40 out there.
I was gonna say 30 to 40, yeah, so, and that's a big increase from previous years,
Oh,
which
for sure.
would
Yeah.
mean the gas.
Yeah.
No, I think it's all good. You know, we were looking at kind of hovering right around break even, and we're a good ways above that now, even though things
Well-
haven't come in. But it'd be nice to get those other 9 or 11
Yeah.
lots up there
Yeah.
to get that positive cash coming in
The other,
to
the other,
really
the other thing
put
we
us in the
gotta, we have to
black.
think about, and we gotta consider a little bit, is that, you know, this, part of our income comes off a 123 acre piece that the farmers are farming. We have that for sale, the city of Forest Lake's trying to sell it, you know, and if that happens, then we have to do something about our budget. we're gonna have to work on our budget a little bit somehow, so.
And that has been, if that property sells, we've talked about, or I've mentioned, what do we do, because that is a revenue stream for the airport.
Right.
That's one of the
That-
reasons.
that's
the
being
city
taken
supports
away.
it.
It's
That's
agriculture
agriculture.
stream,
Sure.
revenue stream, see.
And that is, the nice thing about the ag lease is that we can carve off those pieces if we do sell a piece, we can, without having to renegotiate the whole lease, but it does impact the revenues coming in.
Yeah.
And we're looking at, is there, what are the other options there, so it doesn't.
And how much a year do we bring in for that now? You said 8,000, or I don't know what our.
Total on that, I think total egg lease is 13 to 15,000-ish in there. So it's down from what was there before, because we pay less or get less per acre, but the bulk of that does come from the 123. There's some piecemeal stuff outside of that, but there's.
Nobody's beating the door down, don't get me wrong, but
Right.
eventually that's gonna go away.
Sure. Oh,
And
yeah.
so
So
that-
on the north side?
No, south.
South, okay.
Yeah, we own 123 acres, and it was all part of the total airport sale. When the
Yeah.
township bought it, the whole thing, there was a section of land there. It was 97 acres, that's the airport, 196, whatever it is. And there was 123 acres that's just been farmed. Some of it's been sold off,
Mhm.
some of it went to the ice arena, and so.
And MinDOT, I sent you an email earlier today, and I was just curious if MinDOT would be interested in buying it, or the other adjacent land around, just for future, whatever they want to do with our airport. I don't know if that's,
I don't know how we connect it there, though, see, because
Okay.
there's a gap in between. What MinDOT did for us, they helped purchase the property that's the airport proper. They
okay,
paid 80% of it,
yeah,
so they have an
Yeah.
80%
yeah,
say in this piece of property, there's no
Right.
question about it. And, the surrounding area has always went to the city of Forest, the township at that time, the city of Forest Lake, then it was, so the question has always been, and the argument's always been, and part of the deal was, the verbal deal was, hey, we'll sell you this piece of property really cheap, but we gotta maintain the airport there,
yeah,
and the township agreed to that at that time. What that's gonna look like moving forward, with different councils and whatever the case may be, is gonna be a little more difficult. So we gotta keep that conversation has to stay alive,
yeah,
it's gotta be there.
And I think too, in terms of like, if you're seeing fund balances kind of organically grow just based on, like past years, you have 5 or 6 years like this, honestly, I think that major cliff that's there really levels off,
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be, the airport is gonna be self-sufficient.
Right.
Obviously, I still think though that Headwaters 123 is a piece that we just have to figure
Yeah.
out a mechanism for that,
But-
because we don't wanna be losing
No,
$9,000.
and I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, all I'm saying is that has to be part of the conversation, simple as that. And we can't, and we gotta be looking at it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's future, 10 years, maybe 10 minutes, we don't know. So,
yeah.
now these leases, the firm leases, are they paid in the spring then?
Paid in the fall. So they've always paid December.
Okay, so the lease that's going on right now gets paid this fall?
Correct, yeah, by December 31st,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but then that's for the next year though?
through the year. So they farm it and they pay it.
Oh,
They-
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
They pay after the fact, okay.
yeah, we used to do every 6 months or something, but it was, when we redid the lease, it was easier just to do one payment, because they've always paid full
So-
amount end of the year, so I just continued with that,
Okay.
so it's December 31st.
So there's a bit of a cash flow at the end of the year, no matter what.
Yep, and you still have that cash coming in too,
Yeah.
so there's still some coming back in.
Yeah, it's just so good to see a positive
Oh,
growth of
definitely,
the
absolutely.
balance. I mean, that was just such a big negative to the community, like, they felt like money was going to support a bunch of,
Right,
wealthy hobbyists,
right,
and,
right.
and that's certainly not the case. We're,
But-
if anything, not only paying our own way, but,
And, but
bringing
the other thing
additional
too,
funds
the
in.
other part of that conversation is that, MinDOT, they did a economic impact for the
Yeah.
airport 3-4 years ago. Try to find it, because it's really good, it's a good
Yeah.
argument.
It's
of why we're there.
yeah, it's good, but that takes a lot more understanding than just
Yeah, it does.
the dollar. Seeing that positive balance.
Because you gotta look at, what, the number of people it employs and all this other
Yep,
stuff,
yep, you gotta really,
And then as the thing keeps growing out there, that's only gonna get better,
right.
Right.
so.
As long as we can grow without having to increase expenses for extra,
Right,
so it's that
right.
balancing act to grow,
mhm.
I think you can potentially smart growth out there does cash flow it better.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I've been
it's-
talking about it.
You know, so it's sort of, I like I said, and I look back at the numbers after I got the finals, I was extremely pleased with where we ended up after 20.
I am too, I'm excited
If
about
we
it.
do it in 21, I'll be extremely happy again. If we
Oh,
do it in
yeah.
22, it's like, hey, you know, we're making a lot of headway on that deficit that's
Yeah.
looming out there, so.
Well, finally, some good news, so.
Yeah, next item, the sale of the tractor, is you gonna go into that deeper than?
I can
before?
give you the update. So I had emailed MnDOT and I said, what's the pathway to get this out? They went back, they had an internal meeting in the beginning of July, figure it out and let me know what the pathway was. I emailed them after it and said, okay, so what happened at the meeting? You know, what's my pathway here? It's now at contract management to determine the pathway.
They passed the buck.
They passed the buck. So I am fighting through the bureaucracy of MnDOT and state government right now to figure it out. I haven't been told no, and I haven't been told the pathway on it, so we're getting it figured out for determination of value. And once it's there, we'll get it sold as quickly as we possibly can and get the funds deposited in the airport fund.
But I think, I don't know, where MnDOT would have the wherewithal to even figure it out. It should be, a dealer should be able to come and say, this is what it's worth, either wholesale or retail.
And
And go for that.
I gave them a dealer trade-in estimate that we got if we were to
Yeah.
trade it in a brand new one. I
Yeah.
said, here's our trade-in estimate. Does
Right.
this work for a starting point? You know, we can go back, you can argue
Right.
trade-in versus retail, and we'll go back and have that conversation, but they've passed the buck over to contract management, and once I hear back from them,
Sounds like bureaucracy.
It's a bureaucracy, no doubt.
Okay,
But in the meantime, we can get it moved.
we'll get it moved, yeah, we'll get that taken care
Yeah,
of.
see, okay.
are there any other items that are not on the agenda that anyone wanted to bring up?
AD
Ken?
building, new locks are installed.
Oh, okay.
We went out and got commercial grade, you
Okay.
know, keypad locks, so the feel won't affect them. So they're stainless steel. They were installed, I can't remember when they were installed, but
Just the other day, because I was out there. so-
they're installed functioning. Both front door and the side door are both
Okay. That's
wonderful.
coated open.
Yeah.
Open, and I'm also right now getting bids to see what replacing the flooring in the building would be. That flooring in there, the carpet's looking pretty worn. So I just wanted to start estimating that out so I can get that
Sure.
in a budget if need be. So
That just proves the building's being used, which is good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got door locks and hinges wearing out, that's a great thing.
Yeah,
For a contractor.
and when they were installed,
For retail too.
Yeah.
they did all they retweaked all the hinges
Oh,
on
they
the
did.
so he did full on,
oh, good,
you know,
yeah.
that's working.
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
Well, that was a sticking issue with the locks not working, so I'm glad it's fixed.
Well, the buttons are getting so bad too, that
Yep.
if you weren't from here, you didn't know which button to push anymore. You know, that was a problem, so.
Actually,
And the
somebody-
codes are the same, I
Codes are the
Yeah,
same.
okay.
I had somebody actually call me today. He's like, I've had issues in the past getting in. Can I still get in? And I'm like, hey, we have brand new locks. If you can't figure it out now, you know, they work super easy, it's slick, and they're great. So
Good, good.
Any other items?
Somebody made the mention that the Vassies or Pappies aren't working. Is that something?
Somebody said that, but I've never paid attention to
I,
them.
I've stopped using them a long time ago, and unless I'm up there and I want to check them, but
You know,
next time I'm up, I'll try and
Well,
try them out, but
3 days ago, we went flying and they weren't working
Oh, they weren't.
facing the north. Because
Okay.
it was zero wind, so we were landing on 1-3,
Mhm.
which is zero wind runway, and they weren't working.
so you're facing south then,
We were facing south.
yeah.
Well, the Pappies were facing to the
Yeah,
north.
Pappy's facing north,
You
yeah,
know,
coming
and
into the south.
We were coming into 1-3.
1-3.
They weren't on, that's all I can tell you.
Huh, okay.
So, and
Do we-
to be honest with you, didn't even pay any attention, because I'm paying attention to the
Right,
runway.
right,
Now, it seems to me that if they had been on, it would kind of draw your attention to the light.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking they're not working.
okay. I'll find out
but,
from.
but you did click to turn them on.
No, I didn't, but one time,
Oh, I think you got to click to
Oh,
turn them
7
on.
clicks or
oh,
something.
they don't, these
Five
don't stay on?
clicks.
Oh, they
No,
don't.
you got to
Well,
click
then,
them.
that's why I didn't use them.
See, that's I mean, I never even click anymore. You just focused on the runway and coming in, but so next time you're up, think
I'll
to
do that.
click 5 times and
I,
see if they come on.
Yeah, if they're not working, let me know. I can get if you get confirmation. Let me know.
Yeah.
I grew up on a grass runway, I had to watch out for the deer, you know?
Yeah. Not watching for Pappy. Yeah.
Watching for deer, not lights.
Yeah. With this haze, I went up last week and it was hazy, and now it's just
Oh,
nuts.
yeah, you don't
I
want
saw
to-
someone practicing landings today. I'm just thinking it's
almost
crazy
insane
right now.
now.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay, anything else from the floor? No? And we don't have anyone from the outside
The
here?
the only other thing
Yeah.
I was gonna mention, and believe me, I have nothing against Kurt Munson, absolutely nothing, I think he's a great guy, I think he's an asset to this committee, but it's been a kind of an issue, with, you know, because of his job.
Yeah,
And-
just availability at meeting time.
Right.
I mean, today is an unusual meeting, given when it is in the months.
It
but,
is, so maybe we
um,
should at least talk to him and find out how he, the last thing I wanna do is push him off the committee.
Right.
But it may be something that, maybe he has some information on us for us, about his schedule or something, we can work something out, you know? So,
Yeah, and especially if you're meeting only every other month too, you miss a couple of meetings.
Right.
Yeah, miss a lot,
Business,
yeah. Now, out of curiosity, if this green light list comes out tomorrow, next week, will we try and schedule a meeting for September?
Yeah, September's a go regardless.
September's a
Yeah,
go
September's our
regardless.
natural next meeting.
That
in
is our next
September.
meeting, so,
Yep.
okay.
And I looked at, because I weighed, you know, given where we are in July, do we pull another meeting in August if we needed to? But I think in talking to Silas from where we're at with a timing perspective, September is just fine to get everything. put
Okay.
there.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mark makes a motion to
and
adjourn.
also, I'll second.
Sam seconds, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
And it carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 7:21.
Go.